How's it rockin', Dween Nation? You're listening to the Dween Sports Podcast. We're about to get underway. But before you give us a listen, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are posting weekly sports content, and we want to build up the brand that is Dween Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy.
Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Paez, alongside Janoah Agudelo, and we are back to discuss Week 10 of the NFL season. This episode is featuring our rapid-fire game picks of the week. You've seen this episode is one of our favorites to record. We will both go against each other, or however you want to look at it, and we will run through all 14 games this week as fast as we possibly can. But it doesn't mean it's just off a whim. Like we've looked at this, we're ready to go. But yeah, before we dive into it all, how you doing, Janoah?
Yo, Dween Nation, Justin, I'm doing great. It's the road to Week 10. We're on the road to fantasy playoffs here. I need a win. I know you need a win. Definitely not in elite league. It's very tight there. So, definitely need some wins there this weekend. And my Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football there at NRG. One of the biggest games of the year going against, if you watched our previous episodes out there, Dween Nation, I talked about how dominant this Detroit Lions team is. Yeah, the Detroit Lions. Yes, this is 2024. The Lions are the best team in football, even better than the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. But it's going to be a great game this weekend in Houston, and I hope for my Texans to come out with the victory.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm glad Sunday night we got Houston on, and Nico hopefully is returning. That game should be good, even though we saw Houston struggle pretty poorly last week. But let's dive into these game predictions. I go first, right, as per usual. Do you have my timer set? And I'll have my...
Yes, just to let you know, I think this is your time, 109 last week. And I'll go ahead and start. When you're ready, I'll go ahead and count down for you.
All right, count me down.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, I was 12-3 last week. We're going to do even better this week. We start with Thursday night, Cincinnati at Baltimore. I think with T. Higgins missing, Baltimore gets to cruising to an easy victory. Then we got a Germany game, the Giants against the Panthers. I'm going with the Giants. Daniel Jones is a good game. Then we got the Patriots at Chicago. Chicago bounces back, gets their first win in the last 3 weeks. Then we got Buffalo at Indy. This one's going to be close, but I go with Buffalo over the Colts. Then we got the Broncos at Kansas City. I'm going with the Chiefs. Atlanta at New Orleans. They're too injury depleted. I'll go with Atlanta. San Francisco at Tampa Bay. I'm going with an upset. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win at home. Then we got Pittsburgh at Washington. I'm going with the Commanders. Minnesota at Jacksonville. Minnesota gets the victory. Tennessee at Los Angeles Chargers. Go Chargers. Big game for Herbert. Philadelphia at Dallas. They always split one, but with the injury to Dak, I'm going with Philadelphia. Then we got the Jets at the Cardinals. I'm going with the Cardinals to continue their hot streak. We moved to Sunday Night Football. Detroit at Houston is my game of the week. But I have Detroit, shocking Houston at home, even though it's going to be a close one to the end of the game. Then we got Monday Night Football, Miami at Los Angeles. The Rams get a big victory at home.
Wow, Justin, 2 more seconds than last week, 111.
All right.
111. I want to discuss it, but before we discuss it, there's a lot to discuss. I'll go ahead and knock mine out. There's some juicy matchups here to kind of get down here. So let me get my little sheet out here, and then you'll be able to count me down here. So I'm good to go here.
All right, you went 12-3 last week. Let's see how it goes this week. Are you ready?
Yes,
3,
sir.
2, 1, let's go.
All right, here we go. Thursday Night Football. Lamar Jackson, the MVP, comes out hot, beats the Bengals. Give me the Ravens. We go to Germany or Munich. Give me the Giants over there. Daniel Jones has a hot game. We go to Chicago. Give me the Bears against the Patriots. We go to Indianapolis. Josh Allen makes a case for his MVP case. He dominates in Indianapolis. Give me the Bills. We go to Kansas City. I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit of upset alert, but let me just take the Chiefs. A safe spot here. Let me take the Chiefs. We go to New Orleans. I want to pick the Saints with the new head coach and kind of area, but there's a lot of injuries. Give me the Falcons. We go to Tampa Bay. San Francisco dominates off the bye. We go to Washington. They dominate Pittsburgh. Give me Washington. We go to Jacksonville. A little bit of a shootout here, but give me the Vikings here to steal one out. We go to Los Angeles where the Chargers play the Titans. Give me the Chargers to dominate. Herbert continues to stay hot. We go to Dallas where Philadelphia continues to dominate this year. Give me the Eagles. We go to Arizona where old man Grandpa Rogers throws for 4 touchdowns in Arizona. Then we go to Houston where my beloved Texans are playing the Lions. I don't know if we can beat them. Give me the Lions. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pick. Then we go to Los Angeles where the Rams play the Dolphins. Give me the Rams on a late Matthew Stafford touchdown.
Wow, you beat me. Wow, with 1:09. Pretty
Oh
good.
man, 2 seconds left. So I had your time from last week.
That's right.
Um,
Rapid
yeah,
fire.
I was gonna kind of dig in a little bit and kind of see what you think. Obviously tomorrow night or tonight, if you guys watching this, Dewey Nation, Joe Burrow on the road kind of scares me just a little bit, Justin. And I do think that Lamar Jackson and this offense is gonna continue to slow the pace down and score touchdowns and kind of limit the ball away from Joe Burrow. I think T. Higgins is ruled out, I believe.
He's doubtful
Uh,
at the moment.
he's doubtful. T. Higgins is Mr. Doubtful. Not
Yeah.
surprised here. We go to Germany here. I like Daniel Jones to have a great game rushing. I like what I saw last week, home against Washington, and I think he's going to carry that against a terrible Carolina defense that's kind of terrible against the rush. I think he picked the Colts to beat the Bills, which is very interesting. Kind of going down here these couple games. I'm starting Russell in one of our leagues against Washington, but it's just a scary matchup. I have no choice. Jordan Love's out. But kind of these last couple games, there's only 3 o'clock games, and there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 12 o'clock games. So all the action really is going to be going down at 12 o'clock there, Justin. Kind of the calm before the storm in Houston, where I'm frightening going into this week. If you want me to tell you a player, Justin, I'm gonna give it back to you real quick, and you can get back to pretty much. I have Jahmyr Gibbs shredding us this weekend.
Ooh.
Do you have a Detroit Lions player that can go? Because there's so much talent on this football team. I mean,
I think it's a big Amon-Ra game. We've seen the Texans defense struggle in the secondary.
yeah,
They've been more reliable on the ground, but we also know that Will Anderson is expected to miss. So there could be more lanes opening up for the duo of Montgomery and Gibbs. The hardest game, honestly, for me to decide this week, which I said Buffalo in the rapid fire picks over Indy, but I want to flip. I actually want to go with the Colts. I think they lost kind of embarrassingly at home or on the road last week against Minnesota. It was close through one half. Then Minnesota pulled away, and there wasn't really too much about it. But Shane Steichen came out and reaffirmed his belief in Joe Flacco. They're home in this game. They almost they won a heartbreaker for the Dolphins last week. The Bills did, and so I think they come off of it a little high and mighty, and I think the Colts pull off an upset. I didn't say it in the rapid fire, but I'm changing it up now, and I think that's a good upset. And then the only other upset I think I had on the week is Tampa Bay beating San Francisco. Obviously, the return of McCaffrey makes it even more worrisome for Tampa Bay. But I've been really surprised with how Tampa Bay's offense has continued to play really well, even without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So I think that's gonna be a very close game on that this weekend.
yeah, I do think that the 49ers are going to come out really hot. And you know what? When we get to starts and sit-ems, I might want to add Brock Purdy to my other quarterback. I won't spoil it out there for Dewey Nation. I kind of really like this matchup for Purdy, to be honest. Even though, obviously Ayuk is out, he still has Debo going to play and Kittle. And, kind of like my dark horse kind of week one finisher in the wide receiver column, I like Ricky Pearsall there. And McCaffrey offers a great skill set out of the backfield receiving, and so I like Purdy to have a really good game there. I would recommend Purdy in all daily fantasy lineups there. I really like Purdy on the road, and I do think that Justin, this is kind of the back half of the season where the 49ers catch a little bit of fire there. And I kind of like their schedule. After the Buccaneers do get the Seahawks, whom they beat a couple weeks ago. And then they get Green Bay, kind of struggling. They get Buffalo. Those are tough games, and so they get a lot of shootouts going forward. There's Rams, Dolphins, and the Lions on championship weekend there in fantasy. So rematch of the NFC title game for the fantasy championship. So definitely like 49ers players. I was down on them going into the season, and looking at the rest of the schedule, we look. With Dallas, I actually think Cooper Rush can have a great game fantasy wise, but I also feel like he can have a bad game. I just feel like Philadelphia is really hot right now, and you know how much I love my Eagles there, and they could definitely split this year. I think maybe Dak probably return for the second matchup in Philadelphia, but I think the Eagles are hot right now. Jalen Hurts is playing really great right now. And then, we go to Arizona. I just, the Jets, they had a little bit of a mini bye week after beating my Texans. And, Devontae Adams kind of said it on social media that, this team is back. Or this team, well, not back, but, this camaraderie of Rodgers and Adams is back. And it's going to kind of give juice around. They just traded Mike Williams, and Lazard is out. So you can expect more volume and targets for Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, who I had as one of my league winners this year, Justin. So this is the Garrett Wilson fantasy owners. I promise you, I told you guys not to worry when Adams got traded. This is actually going to help you guys. And by God, it did. He had one of the best catches we've seen this year, for real, ever. And then, you and I have our games of the weeks are both primetime games. You have Houston and Detroit. I actually have Miami and Los Angeles. Before I get to that matchup, I just want to discuss a little bit of my Texans. I'm very worried for my Texans. It's very 50-50 right now, Justin, that we do get Nico Collins back. But even with Nico Collins back, I am still very concerned. This offensive line against this Detroit defensive line, I mean, they just traded for Zadarius Smith out of Cleveland. That guy's a beast. And no Aiden Hutchinson. If Aiden Hutchinson was playing this game, I mean, I would be absolutely frightening, shivering in the corner for this game. Like I mentioned, Jahmyr Gibbs might be my player of the game for Detroit. They have so many players. But I could see in a Amon-Ra St. Brown game, I mean, you can also make the argument that this is Laporta's big night to shine. And we can't forget about Big Monty there. And as well as Jameson Williams, who's coming back out of suspension. So this is very difficult, very, very, very worrisome. And then my game of the week is Los Angeles and Miami. And so looking at this injury report, we haven't really got a word on Puka. We don't think he's going to get suspended. Otherwise, I think they would have said something by now. So thankfully, that's the thing, because these are one of the best wide receiving duos in the league. Obviously, Jalen Waddle has been very underwhelming this year. I have him in another league, in our main league, and I've been very disappointed. But if Tua's been back now for 2 weeks, and I do think that this is the time to kind of get things going. This is not the offense we saw last year. Obviously, A-Chain is hot right now. But Tyreek Hill was one of the best receivers in fantasy football last year. And he's been kind of disappointing. So kind of hoping that we can get a big game out of Puka, Cooper, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. And so this is very exciting there. I do like Tua when he's playing in stadiums compared to when he's playing outdoor. He played good in Buffalo, so I do not think it's going to, change there in Los Angeles. So I'm really excited for that, wide receiving duo kind of matchup.
No, I really like that game. A lot of points hopefully are on the board. I think you can start just about everybody. Even Waddle, I think he's worth the flex start, even though it's been really ugly this season. But yeah, of course, Tyreek, Devon Achane, Cooper Kupp, Puka, Kyron. I think both quarterbacks are very, very solid streaming options this week. And then rolling back, you were talking about in that San Francisco game with Purdy. I don't mean to spoil it, but he's on the dock as my start of the week at quarterback. So you got to it before I did. It actually it helps my take. So you'll hear it more, and we'll talk about it more in the next episode. But I'm glad you mentioned it, because it makes me feel better about my take. But yeah, this a lot of good games this week. I think Houston's going to put up more of a fight than we think they are, with or without Nico. I think obviously it's hard to pick them to win because their strength is Joe Mixon. The Lions' biggest strength is their rushing defense. And so that already makes it tough. So it's going to rely on CJ and Tank Dell, which is a tough thing to ask, especially how they've looked thus far this year. But exciting games this week. We're going to discuss more further, and we're even going to discuss some college football. So stay tuned for all what we got. Thank you guys for listening. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the listeners that we have already at Dween Nation. But we're just continuing to build up Dween Sports. So thank you guys for listening, and Janoah, send us out.
Amen, my brother. Yes, Dween Nation. Thanks for watching. This was a fun episode. I'm so excited to get into starts and sit-ems. There's a lot of great matchups out there in the fantasy world this week, and there's going to be I'm looking at a good amount of shootouts there. So if you want to listen to see what Justin and I would think would be some great shootouts, go ahead and listen to our next episodes to start and sit-ems there. So thanks for watching. Dwee Nation, we love you guys. And as always, peace.
Peace.